Now it has almost been 20 years, 16 years actually, right now, since The People vs. George Lucas came out, and this is such a polarizing like Star Wars documentary, dude. And before we get to any of it, I want to do more Star Wars videos in the future. So I feel like I love Star Wars a lot, and I feel like I haven't talked about it a lot on this channel, even though I love it. So this is one of the videos I'm gonna talk about Star Wars a lot. So I'm excited and expect more videos of Star Wars in the future. But The People vs. George Lucas, man, wow. This is a documentary that is super just fascinates me. We're talking about a documentary that was literally basically like felt like a fan made like documentary. He had so many Star Wars fans that are just like super nerd out in this fucking movie, dude. And definitely for the time period, this came out in 2010, so this is after like the prequels that came out and the Clone Wars is like starting up. This is before Disney bought. This is like 2 years before Disney bought Star Wars, so it's kind of like in a weird point in Star Wars where like the movies that just ended, and they basically were just like doing video games and stuff at that time. But you definitely see, dude, like the fandom at this time was super toxic, bro. And fortunately for me, like one of the things I hate about Star Wars, and I love Star Wars, the only thing I can say I truly hate about it are the fans, dude. I feel like it's definitely one of the most toxic fan bases out there. And like I said, everybody has the right to their own opinion. Not every Star Wars movie is fucking great, but it seems like lately, even now, I've like just the fandom is so toxic, dude. We talk about like if something comes out like of a show or something, like there's just people shitting on it immediately, like no matter what, like people just do not give a fuck. It is rare for like people to agree on like certain shit. Just to keep in mind, the only shows that genuinely have not gotten any hate or like valid hate is like Andor's and like The Mandalorian. That's it. Everything else somehow is like gotten hate or gotten shit on somehow, some way. All the movies from the sequel movies to some of the shows. Like it is the fandom in the Star Wars fandom is so fucking hateful, dude. And I feel like it's definitely a problem that you definitely see it in this movie. Definitely, this is a movie that perfectly captures like the hatred that the fans had around this time period, and just the people in this documentary, dude. Some of these guys are so fucking nerdy, bro. Like I thought I loved Star Wars, but these guys, dude, some of the guys that come out in this movie are just fucking psychotic, bro. Like there's a clip of a guy that like he's comparing like the special editions to the fucking like original, and he's comparing like the opening like 20th Century Fox logo that's like a couple frames before the original or some shit like that. Like, the guy's fucking crazy, bro. Like,
and specifically the episode 4 changes, there are the tweaks that are just small timing tweaks, like moving the 20th Century Fox logo 20 frames earlier, moving the initial hit of Star Wars with the music 2 frames. Then the next types of changes you have are internal trims to restore sequences.
I am sorry, dude. I love Star Wars with all my fucking heart. But if you're really looking into it that fucking deep, where you're comparing the opening shots of this movie frame by frame, like, dude, you're fucking psychotic, bro. Like, I'm sorry, dude. Like, I love fucking Star Wars, like I said, but there's some of the fans of this fucking thing that come out in this shit are fucking psychotic. And this documentary is like super funny, dude. Like, it's like super weird. Like a lot of the stuff that they're always showing like kind of fan films behind like guys talking and shit. Like they kind of have people like, I would say nerding, but you kind of have like people talking over like fan films that people have done, and definitely see how like a lot of these fans at this time, dude, like they did not like the prequels, bro, which is very surprising to me, just because now like people glaze the prequels a lot. And look, like the prequels are not perfect movies, but it's definitely interesting to see like back then, like they were just completely like just shit on. Even episode 3 was shitted on, and they talk about episode 3 in this one. They talk about like the no from Darth Vader, like how it was like super horrible and all that. You have a guy that's like going on a whole ass rant about it. It's super hilarious.
Scene, George, and you fucked it up. How are you going to unfuck this? I think it would be better if Vader is just standing there, growling at the top of his voice like, and then maybe you can have some sparks coming out of his throat as his brand new, voice, box thing starts breaking on him. That would be so much more effective. It would go.
This is like a funny documentary, dude. I feel like just, like I said, a lot of people in this movie are just super people that are like work in film, and they're like just super nerd out fans. I feel like that's one of the things I love about this documentary, is that this doesn't feel like a Disney like Star Wars doc, or like a doc that's coming straight from Lucasfilm. This feels like people that just this director went out there and he literally found like the most hardcore people that he could find for this shit. And you really see it, dude. You definitely get a lot of people from the era that they grew up in, like when they grew up during the original Star Wars, and definitely see how like they air out their frustrations with the special editions. And I feel like, you know, for a lot of us younger people, we're not gonna get that experience. We weren't kids when in '97 when this came out. Not '97. We weren't kids in '77 when this came out. Some of us weren't even kids in '97 when the special editions came out. You know, it's definitely just fascinating to see how like so many people at this time cared about the special editions or how it really affected them. And it talks about like the fandom, how like people feel obligated to kind of buy all the merch, all the toys and shit. How people just go super over the top and go crazy for everything Star Wars, right? But overall, you know, I feel like the way that George Lucas is portrayed in this documentary, it's very interesting to me. It's definitely just, it's a definitely heated subject to talk about. I feel like you have a lot of guys in this documentary that are just completely shitting on George Lucas. The whole like George Lucas, my childhood thing, that is so fucking disgusting, dude. Like that is just like, that's what gets to the point where like the fandom is just getting out of hand. And that's definitely during this time, like, that's like, all right, bro, like, you need to chill the fuck out. Like, it is not that fucking deep, man. I am sorry. I love fucking Star Wars, like I said. It's one of my favorite things ever. But when you have people that are just fucking calling George Lucas out for, like, being fucking racist and, like, doing all this stupid shit, like, a lot of the people in this movie, dude, are, like, or this documentary, I mean, a lot of people in this documentary are just, like, super just over the top, dude. Like, these people are literally, like, Star Wars is their fucking, like, life, man. And you see how, like, there's people in this movie overall that like talk good about Lucas, but I feel like this movie, man, the reason why it's called People George Lucas is because you have so many people that are just shit talking him, man. Especially when like there's a part of the documentary where they talk about like episode 1, just the whole like build up to it and just the media reaction to it. You definitely see so much disappointment from these people, man. Just to kind of see how like how all the hype, dude. You're talking about a lot of people in this documentary, like I said, they grew up watching the original, so for them, like, this is such a groundbreaking moment, and for them to kind of be so disappointed by it, you definitely see like how frustrated they were. You definitely see that in this doc, how like you have so many people that are just seeing how like it was so shit and that was so horrible and that it didn't feel like Star Wars and this and that. Like there's a funny clip where they do like a stream review and they ask some guy like, oh, like, what do you do? The movie sucks. Like, oh, I'll probably go see it again. Like, that's one of the most realest shit I've ever heard from any Star Wars fan. But I feel like overall, you know, I wonder if George Lucas has ever seen this documentary. I feel like he definitely has. I searched this up. Apparently, like, he knows of its existence, but I don't know if he like refused to watch it or like some shit. I don't know if he has. I feel like knowing George Lucas, he definitely have had to. He's definitely, we probably won't ever get an actual like confirmation on that. But I mean, I feel like if he were to watch this, it definitely would have hurt his feelings knowing him. Because, you know, he was somebody that like I said, like they talk about in this movie how like he basically like encouraged fan films. He allowed people to like have sound effects for their fan films and stuff. He even had a contest for best fan films during this time. So it's like, I feel like at the end of the day, like he was really like, George Lucas was a director that was super influential, ahead of his fucking time. Unfortunately, Star Wars, if we wanted, I wouldn't say unfortunately, but you know, for the people that wanted to see a different side of George Lucas, I guess, a different directing movies, I guess, different projects he could have done right, like, we never got to see that out of him because Star Wars became so big that it kind of just took over his life. And you definitely see it, like, how, like, so massive it got. Like, it really changed the world, man. It definitely influenced, like, the modern day blockbuster, and it was so ahead of its time, dude. But it was such a well done story, man. You know, Star Wars is so well done, and I feel like George Lucas, man, is a fucking legend. Despite maybe him not making other type of movies you could have seen, but you know, you can really tell that like he spent a lot of time and dedication to this. And I will admit, I'm not the biggest fan of episode 1, 2, but you know, George Lucas, man, like he wrote a lot of these, he worked on them, and like I said, he admits that he's not really the best director. But just still, man, you know, I love George Lucas with all my fucking heart, dude. I love that man, bro. Like this guy is responsible for like creating like the greatest like fucking franchise of all time, you know. And there's definitely people in this movie that show love to George, but definitely towards the end of the documentary, they kind of try to be a little bit more like sweet to him, I guess. People start talking about how much they love him and all that, but I just feel like overall, like this documentary just doesn't portray like, oh, like this is like a love letter to George Lucas. Like, nah, like this is a movie that is like going at George Lucas, that is criticizing him for all the things that he said and done. And it's kind of crazy how like next year we're gonna get like the episode 4 like re-release. Apparently it's like the original like 1977 version. It's not the special edition, so which is very fascinating to me because I know George Lucas for so long was so against not showing the original one. He even said that they cut the original negative and all this crazy shit. Like he was so adamant about it. He even gave the special edition to the National Film Registry, bro. Like that is how intense this guy did not want people to see the original. In fact, they're gonna show it again. It's pretty fascinating, dude. Especially I wonder like the people in this documentary, like how they feel now. Like if they're gonna watch this now, like damn, like this documentary came almost 20 years ago. Now they're finally gonna be able to see the original Star Wars on the big screen. And I wonder if they're gonna do like a home release of that, the original version. Because if they do, bro, like it's like a 4K like box set of like the unaltered versions. Like bro, like we all buying that shit, bro. Like it's not gonna lie to yourselves. We're all gonna buy that shit on the quicks. But you know, I feel like I said, you know, the people with George Lucas, man. If you're a Star Wars fan, I feel like every Star Wars fan has to see this documentary. Even if you don't like it, even if you're like, you know what, like you don't want people to shit on George, or you're kind of against it. I feel like you still need to watch it. It is a fun watch, despite it being super like I said, some of the fans of this movie are super over the top. I feel like for the most part, it's a really funny documentary. There's a lot of great moments. I feel like definitely if you're a Star Wars fan, you're gonna laugh a lot of the times. You're gonna be like, damn, like this movie is really like real, bro. You're talking about like this is a movie that keep calling it a movie, it's a documentary. This is a documentary that really like captures like the fandom, you know, during this time. I feel like even now watching it like now, I would say it definitely doesn't hold up as well. Obviously there's so much stuff that's happened in Star Wars since then. Apparently like the director of this was trying to do like a part 2 to this, but apparently it's been like in the works for like 10 years. Like I don't think it's gonna come out, but yeah, man, I love George Lucas, bro. You know, I feel like this documentary is definitely shitting on him, but I feel like overall, like I said, every Star Wars fan should see this documentary. I think you'll find something that you like from it, you know. But other than that, y'all, you know, thank you guys for watching, and you know, yeah, that's all I have to say. Peace.